What were you bullied for? Story 1. I was socially awkward. I also was greatly motivated to be liked. I did a lot of shit trying to be liked that in hindsight made me unliked. It's such a catch-22. People are drawn to charismatic confidence. Not too much, but just enough is the key. Even if you make a fool of yourself, if you can play it off confidently, then you'll be likable around the right group. It's hard to have confidence if you're not liked. So by trying to be liked without confidence, you actually give off an air of desperation. Desperation gives off a vibe that's noticeable from a mile away to anyone. Desperation just makes people uncomfortable, and that's when people tend to bully you over that shared discomfort. The bullying ruins any chance you have to be confident. The more you are bullied, the more likely you are to manifest a negative view of people around you, and the more likely you are to lash out at people. The bullied can become the bully very quickly, and the cycle starts again. It's truly a vicious cycle. Story 2. Yep. Being a little girl with undiagnosed autism in the 90s was an adventure in social awkwardness. I learned how to interact with my peers by observing their interactions and then mimicking those behaviors in future interactions. Except I wasn't very good at figuring out which behavior belonged with which situation, so then my teachers would just say I was bringing the bullying on myself, which I was. Now that I'm a teacher myself, I try to look out especially for those kids so ever don't have to go through quite as much of the same shitty learning curve. Story 3. I was in middle school with a kid named Ismael, but people would constantly call him I Smell to make matters worse for him. He actually did stink pretty badly. I remember approaching him when it was just the two of us and asking him if he had deodorant at home, and he didn't even know what it was, which really caught me off guard. I explained what it was to him and I brought him some deodorant the next day. That at least stopped him from saying how much he stinks, but I couldn't help him with the name situation. Fast forward years later, and grown man Ismael is one of the most feared people in my city and has beaten a murder case in court. That bullying stuff either makes or breaks people. Story 4. That is rough. I knew a girl whose mom chain smoked inside, so the girl always smelled like smoke. One day, she tried using her dad's cologne and sprayed a bunch on herself thinking it was the same as perfume, but she got made fun of even more for smelling like a guy. Story 5. I had to wear white cotton gloves to school, and one time, a teacher threw away my art project because she didn't want me to infect the other kids. Story 6. Being the small kid, girl with no boobs and late development. Always, are you sure you're not a boy? Because also my parents kept my hair short as a girl. I had a similar thing happen to me. I was teased for having small boobs and no period. Then puberty hit me pretty aggressively when I was 12, and one girl kept accusing me of stuffing in front of everyone. I got so fed up one day that I flashed her. Then I was teased relentlessly for being a lesbian. Kids are so cruel. Story 7. I was bullied for not wanting to hug people. My mother-in-law and sister-in-law hated me since the first day I met them because I told them I was not a hugger. They started gossiping within the family and friends that I was conceited, weird, and selfish. They even called and texted my husband many times to tell him to start wearing his pants and force me to visit them and hug them and kiss them on the cheek. This went on for years. Apparently, they are big-time huggers and kissers. Anyway, the bullying got so bad, we just stopped visiting. I learned a lesson though. Never let anyone bully you into changing who you are. Like my husband told me, if I wanted a hugger, I would have married a hugger. Story 8. LOL. When I was in 6th grade, I had a boyfriend who broke up with me because I liked Kingdom Hearts, and that is the nerdiest game ever, and man, he made sure to make all his friends know about it. Was also bullied for having red hair, having freckles, my nose, the music I liked. Kids will find anything to be assholes about. Story 9. For being half German, couldn't go a day in high school without a guy in my class pretended to be my friend and would call me a Nazi, drawing swastikas all over my schoolwork/books and then justifying it because his dad was Jewish and he was Russian and the Russians beat the Nazis, so he was better than me. I was always too anxious about not having friends/didn't know how to make friends that I put up with it for 4 years. Story 10. My voice. Apparently, I sound white and like a squirrel. Bullying started when my parents moved us from suburbs to the inner city. Story 11. I was annoying. I talked too much. I read instead of running around outside. I clicked my teeth on my utensils when I ate. I hummed bits of songs. I breathed too loud. I asked too many questions. I was awkward. I ate too much. I dressed badly. My entire existence was a constant assault on the senses of my bully. She was my mom. Story 12. Being raped in middle school. He was the most popular guy. I was the new, awkward, overweight girl no one liked. When that happened, my parents pressed charges, and so everyone knew within days. School was terrible cause all the kids would mock me, pretending to be raped in the hallways. The guy that did it had a very pretty, very popular girlfriend who was embarrassed and very cruel, so I was harassed by all the kids, constantly. On a daily basis, in all different types of ways, it led to me trying to kill myself at 13 years old. Edit. Wow, thank you for all the extremely kind words. As much bad there is out in the world, there's so much more good. Thank you all for the refreshing reminder. Story 13. I got bullied for being indigenous every single day, also for being undiagnosed autistic. You're so dirty. Go back to your reserve. My dad pays taxes so you can get government collections. You're a bogan. You don't belong here. Too bad you weren't exterminated like your great-grandparents. You are filth. Stop trying to fit in, etc. All during the ages of 6 to 14 whilst in elementary school. The teachers never did anything at all. Story 14. For liking Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh at 12 years old, not knowing any sexual terms at 12 years old, not liking sports. Story 15. For being poor, 3 rich kids from my elementary school were beating me every single day. I did fight back when I could, but it is kind of hard when you are a scrawny, skinny kid, and 2 of them were holding me, while the 3rd was punching me. They took turns. When it comes to bullies, I have absolutely no tolerance for them. Whenever anyone did try to bully me, I fought back. The way I was thinking, I would get beaten anyway. I might as well go down swinging. Eventually, bullying stopped. To top it off, I was always punished for fighting. Bullies were never punished because they were from good families. I learned early that if you have money and influence, you can do whatever you want. There is no punishment and no justice. Full stop. My justice was seeing the bullies go down in flames because of drugs. One of them committed drug-fueled suicide. When I heard about it from a mutual classmate, I said, "Good riddance." Trash took itself out. They were outraged at what I said. I told them they seemed to forget. The said individual, the ringleader of the 3, was a piece of shit growing up. He was a piece of shit dying.